Sitting across from my neurologist after 30 days of following a strict 4-food protocol, watching his eyes widen as he reviewed my test results, hearing him say I've never seen improvements like this in someone with Parkinson's without changing medications, that moment changed everything for me. And it can change everything for you too. My name is Robert, and I'm 68 years old. I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 3 years ago, and like many of you watching this, before I share these 4 foods and the results I experienced, I want to know where you're watching from today and what your biggest challenge with Parkinson's has been. Leave a comment below, whether it's tremors, rigidity, balance issues, or the emotional toll of this disease. Your story matters, and this community is here to support you. Now let me tell you about the first food that became the foundation of my 30-day experiment. The first food is wild-caught salmon, and it became my primary protein source throughout this entire month. I ate salmon twice daily, once at lunch and once at dinner, approximately 6 to 8 ounces per meal. Now you might wonder why salmon specifically and why wild-caught matters so much. Let me explain the science that convinced me this was essential. Salmon contains one of the highest concentrations of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA, of any food on the planet. Let me break down exactly what happens in the Parkinson's brain and why omega-3 fatty acids matter so much. Parkinson's disease involves the progressive death of dopamine-producing neurons in a brain region called the substantia nigra. While the exact cause of this neuronal death is still being researched, we know that chronic inflammation plays a major role. Inflammatory molecules called cytokines, specifically interleukin-1 beta, interleukin-6, and tumor necrosis factor alpha. A groundbreaking study from Harvard Medical School examined Parkinson's patients who supplemented with high-dose omega-3 fatty acids for 12 months. The results showed significant improvements in several areas. Unified Parkinson's Disease Rating Scale scores improved by an average of 23%, meaning overall symptom severity decreased. Patients required 18% less levodopa medication to maintain the same symptom control. But not just any salmon, wild-caught salmon specifically. And here's why that distinction matters enormously. Wild-caught salmon contains 3 to 4 times more omega-3 fatty acids than farm-raised salmon. Farm-raised salmon are fed a diet high in corn and soy, rather than the algae and smaller fish that wild salmon eat. This dramatically changes their fatty acid profile. Additionally, farm-raised salmon often contain higher levels of contaminants, including PCBs, dioxins. Now let me address the concern about mercury in fish because I know many of you are thinking about it. Salmon is actually one of the lowest mercury fish you can eat. Unlike large predatory fish like tuna, swordfish, or shark that accumulate high mercury levels, salmon are smaller and lower on the food chain, resulting in minimal mercury accumulation. The FDA and EPA both classify salmon as a best choice for frequent consumption. Before we continue to the second food, I want to create a moment for you to reflect and share. What dietary changes have you already tried for your Parkinson's symptoms? Did anything help even a little bit? Or have you felt frustrated by conflicting information about what to eat? Leave a comment below sharing your experience. You could write, "I tried changing my diet by," and then describe what happened. The second food I ate exclusively during these 30 days was blueberries, specifically organic wild blueberries, and I consumed approximately 2 cups per day, 1 cup in the morning blended into a smoothie with water, and 1 cup in the evening as a snack or dessert. Blueberries might seem like a simple choice, but the scientific evidence supporting their use in Parkinson's disease is absolutely compelling. Here's what makes blueberries so special for brain health. Anthocyanins can cross the blood-brain barrier, that selective filter that prevents most substances in your bloodstream from entering your brain tissue. Once in the brain, anthocyanins accumulate in regions involved in learning and memory, including the hippocampus, but also importantly in the striatum and substantia nigra, the exact regions affected by Parkinson's disease. A particularly impressive study published in the Annals of Neurology followed over 130,000 people for more than 20 years, tracking their berry consumption and subsequent Parkinson's disease risk. The researchers found that people who consumed berries, especially blueberries and strawberries, at least twice per week, had a 25% lower risk of developing Parkinson's disease compared to those who rarely ate berries. In laboratory studies, mice bred to develop Parkinson's-like symptoms showed remarkable improvements. When given blueberry extract equivalent to about 2 cups of fresh blueberries daily for a human, These mice had 53% less dopamine neuron death compared to control mice, improved motor function on tests of coordination and movement speed, reduced levels of inflammatory markers in brain tissue, and less accumulation of alpha-synuclein. The type of blueberries matters significantly. Wild blueberries, which are smaller than conventional cultivated blueberries, contain up to twice the antioxidant capacity. This is because they have a higher skin-to-flesh ratio, and most of the beneficial anthocyanins are concentrated in the skin. Wild blueberries also tend to have higher anthocyanin diversity, containing over 25 different types of these beneficial compounds, compared to about 15 types in cultivated berries. I want to address the sugar concern because some of you might worry about the natural sugars in 2 cups of blueberries daily. Blueberries are relatively low in sugar compared to many fruits, containing only about 15 grams of natural sugar per cup. More importantly, they have a low glycemic index of 43, meaning they don't cause rapid spikes in blood sugar. The fiber content in blueberries, approximately 4 grams per cup. Preparation methods for blueberries are important because heat can degrade some of the beneficial anthocyanins. I primarily ate my blueberries raw, either fresh or thawed from frozen. Blending them into smoothies is fine as the mechanical action doesn't significantly damage the antioxidants. I avoided baking with them or cooking them into sauces as temperatures above 180 degrees Fahrenheit can reduce anthocyanin content by up to 30%. Now let's discuss the third essential food in my protocol: dark leafy greens, specifically organic spinach and kale. I rotated between these 2 greens and consumed approximately 4 to 6 cups of raw greens daily, or 2 to 3 cups if cooked. I added them to my morning smoothie, ate large salads for lunch alongside my salmon, and sautéed them as a side dish with dinner. First, let's talk about folate, also known as vitamin B9, which is abundant in dark leafy greens. Folate plays a critical role in a process called methylation, which is essential for producing neurotransmitters, including dopamine. Inadequate folate leads to elevated levels of homocysteine, an amino acid that, when elevated, is associated with increased Parkinson's disease risk and faster disease progression. 1 cup of raw spinach provides nearly 60 micrograms of folate, about 15% of the daily requirement. 1 cup of raw kale provides about 20 micrograms. By consuming 4 to 6 cups daily, I was getting approximately 150 to 200 micrograms of natural folate. Importantly, this is natural folate from food, not synthetic folic acid from supplements or fortified foods. Natural folate is better absorbed and utilized by the body. Dark leafy greens also provide exceptional amounts of vitamin K, with 1 cup of raw kale containing over 600 micrograms, nearly 7 times the daily requirement. Vitamin K has recently emerged as an important nutrient for brain health. Research shows that vitamin K accumulates in brain tissue and is involved in synthesizing sphingolipids, a type of fat that makes up cell membranes in the brain. Another critical nutrient in dark leafy greens is magnesium, with 1 cup of cooked spinach providing over 150 milligrams, about 40% of the daily requirement for men. Magnesium deficiency is extremely common, affecting an estimated 50% of Americans, and it may be even more prevalent in Parkinson's patients. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, including those that produce energy in mitochondria. Dark leafy greens are also among the best food sources of lutein and zeaxanthin, carotenoid compounds usually associated with eye health. But emerging research shows they also accumulate in the brain where they function as antioxidants and may protect against neurodegeneration. A study from the University of Georgia found that higher intakes of lutein and zeaxanthin were associated with better cognitive performance across multiple domains, including processing speed and memory. One concern people often raise about dark leafy greens is oxalates, compounds that can contribute to kidney stones in susceptible individuals. It's true that spinach and kale contain oxalates. However, for most people, this is not a concern. Oxalate-related kidney stones affect only about 10% of the population and usually require genetic predisposition, combined with other risk factors like dehydration or high sodium intake. If you have a history of oxalate kidney stones, preparation methods significantly impact the nutrient availability from dark leafy greens. Raw greens in smoothies or salads provide maximum vitamin C and folate, which can be degraded by heat. However, lightly cooking greens actually increases the bioavailability of certain nutrients like lutein, zeaxanthin, and beta-carotene by breaking down cell walls. I used both raw and cooked greens throughout my protocol to get the benefits of both approaches. Before we move to the fourth and final food, I want to pause and ask you about your relationship with vegetables. Do you currently eat dark leafy greens regularly? If not, what's the biggest barrier for you? Is it the taste, the preparation time, or just not knowing how to incorporate them into your meals? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Understanding your challenges helps me create practical solutions in future videos. The fourth and final food I ate during my 30-day experiment was avocados. I consumed 1 to 2 medium avocados daily, usually one at lunch added to my salmon and greens salad, and sometimes another half or whole avocado at dinner. Avocados might seem like an unusual choice for a therapeutic Parkinson's protocol, but they provide several unique nutritional benefits that complement the other 3 foods perfectly. Your brain is approximately 60% fat by dry weight, and the quality of fats you consume directly impacts brain structure and function. Monounsaturated fats, particularly oleic acid, which comprises about 70% of avocado oil, have been shown to reduce inflammation, support healthy cell membranes, and improve the fluidity of neuronal membranes, which affects how well neurons can communicate with each other. One of the most important nutrients in avocados for Parkinson's patients is glutathione, often called the master antioxidant. Glutathione is a small protein composed of 3 amino acids that plays a critical role in protecting cells from oxidative damage and detoxifying harmful substances. Crucially, glutathione levels are markedly reduced in the substantia nigra of Parkinson's patients. Avocados are exceptionally rich in vitamin E, providing approximately 20% of the daily requirement in one medium fruit. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble antioxidant that protects cell membranes from oxidative damage. In the context of Parkinson's disease, vitamin E has shown promise in several research studies. Another crucial nutrient in avocados is potassium, with one medium avocado providing over 900 milligrams, more than twice what you'd get from a medium banana. Potassium is essential for proper nerve function and muscle contraction. Many Parkinson's patients experience muscle cramps, restless legs, and fatigue that can be partially related to inadequate potassium intake. Additionally, potassium helps regulate blood pressure. Avocados also significantly enhance the absorption of fat-soluble nutrients from the other foods in my protocol. Carotenoids like lutein and zeaxanthin from dark leafy greens, vitamin K from greens, vitamin E itself, and the omega-3 fatty acids from salmon all require dietary fat for optimal absorption. Research from Ohio State University found that adding avocado to a salad increased the absorption of carotenoids by up to 15 times compared to the same salad without avocado. I want to address the calorie concern, because avocados are relatively calorie-dense at about 240 calories per medium fruit. Some people worry that eating 1 to 2 avocados daily will cause weight gain. In my experience and in research studies, the opposite tends to be true. The combination of healthy fats, fiber, about 10 grams per avocado, and low carbohydrate content makes avocados extremely satiating, meaning they keep you full and satisfied for hours. The quality of avocados matters. I exclusively ate organic avocados during my protocol to minimize pesticide exposure. While avocados are on the Environmental Working Group's Clean 15 list, meaning they have relatively low pesticide residues compared to other produce, going organic provides extra protection, especially when eating them daily. I also rotated between California Hass avocados and Florida avocados, which have slightly different nutrient profiles. Now let me share what happened during those 30 days, eating only these 4 foods: salmon, blueberries, dark leafy greens, and avocados. The first week was admittedly challenging, not because I felt hungry. The foods were satisfying enough, but because of the mental and social aspects of such a restricted diet. I missed my morning coffee. I had to skip social dinners with friends, and there were moments of intense cravings for foods outside the protocol. By the second week, something remarkable started happening with my tremors. The resting tremor in my right hand that had been constant for over 2 years began to quiet down. It didn't disappear completely, but the amplitude or size of the shaking decreased noticeably. My wife was the first to point it out. She said she could see me holding a book steady while reading something I hadn't been able to do in months. My rigidity also improved. Week 3 brought even more improvements. My balance felt more stable. I was less afraid of falling when walking on uneven surfaces. My handwriting, which had been deteriorating and becoming smaller, a phenomenon called micrographia that's common in Parkinson's, started to improve. The letters were larger and more legible. My thinking felt clearer too, less of that mental fog that had been creeping in. I was able to focus on tasks for longer periods without feeling mentally exhausted. By the end of 30 days, I had lost 6 pounds, as I mentioned, going from 192 pounds down to 186. But more importantly, I felt like a different person. My tremor had reduced by what I estimated to be 60 to 70% in amplitude. It still appeared occasionally, especially when I was tired or stressed, but it was no longer constant. The real test came when I visited my neurologist for my scheduled 3-month follow-up, which happened to fall right at the end of my 30-day experiment. He performed the standard motor examination, testing my tremor, rigidity, bradykinesia or slowness of movement, gait, and balance. His expression changed from routine assessment to genuine surprise as he worked through the examination. When he finished, he sat back and said these words I'll never forget. That visit was 4 months ago now. I've continued eating primarily these 4 foods, though I've added back some variety, including other vegetables, nuts, seeds, and occasional whole grains. My improvements have held stable. I haven't regressed back to my baseline before the experiment. If anything, I continue to feel slightly better as time goes on. My neurologist has reduced one of my medications slightly, because we both agreed I didn't seem to need as much with my improved symptoms. Now I need to be very clear about several important points. First, this is my personal experience. I am not a doctor, and I'm not claiming this will work for everyone with Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's is a complex heterogeneous disease, meaning it affects people differently and responds to interventions differently. What worked remarkably well for me might work differently for you. Second, you must never change your medications without your doctor's supervision. Fourth, there are some people who should not follow this exact protocol without medical supervision. If you're taking blood thinners like warfarin, the high vitamin K content in dark leafy greens can affect your medication and requires monitoring. If you have kidney disease, the potassium in avocados and the protein in salmon need to be considered carefully. If you have a seafood allergy, obviously salmon is not an option, though you could potentially substitute another omega-3 rich fish. I also want to acknowledge the privilege involved in being able to afford to eat this way. Wild-caught salmon is expensive. Organic produce costs more than conventional. Not everyone has access to these foods or the financial resources to buy them regularly. I was fortunate to be in a position where I could invest in this experiment. If cost is a barrier for you, there are ways to modify the approach. Frozen wild salmon is less expensive than fresh. Let me give you a practical implementation guide if you want to try this approach. I recommend starting with a modified version rather than jumping into the full restriction I did. Week 1, add wild salmon to your diet 3 times per week. Add 1 cup of blueberries daily. Increase dark leafy greens to at least 2 cups daily. Add half an avocado to 1 meal daily. Continue eating your normal diet. Otherwise, Week 2, increase salmon to 5 times per week. Keep a daily journal tracking your symptoms. Note your tremor severity on a scale of 1 to 10. Your rigidity, your balance, your mood, your energy, your sleep quality. This helps you objectively assess whether the protocol is helping you. Take videos of yourself performing standard tasks like touching your finger to your nose, walking a straight line, or writing a sentence. Some practical tips that help me succeed. Meal prep on Sundays. I cooked several pounds of salmon at once and stored portions in the refrigerator. I washed and prepped greens so they were ready to add to smoothies or salads. I kept frozen wild blueberries stocked so I never ran out. Plan your meals in advance. Knowing exactly what you'll eat each day eliminates decision fatigue and temptation. Find recipes that make these foods enjoyable. If you're struggling with the restrictiveness, remember you can modify the approach to fit your life. Maybe you do the full protocol Monday through Friday and allow more variety on weekends. Maybe you do it for 2 weeks instead of 30. Maybe you simply prioritize eating more of these 4 foods without eliminating everything else. Any increase in these nutrient-dense anti-inflammatory foods is likely to provide some benefit, even if not as dramatic as my results. I want to end by saying that while my experience was remarkably positive, I view this dietary approach as one tool in a comprehensive Parkinson's management strategy. I continue taking my medications. I exercise regularly, including walking, strength training, and balance exercises. I prioritize sleep, going to bed, and waking at consistent times. I practice stress management through meditation and deep breathing.
If this video has given you hope or practical information you can use,
I invite you to subscribe to the Beyond Parkinson channel. This channel is dedicated to sharing evidence-based strategies for managing Parkinson's disease, from nutrition and exercise to medication management and emerging therapies. By subscribing, you'll receive weekly videos with specific actionable information that can improve your daily life with Parkinson's.